The first time he broke a promise, it seemed insignificant. A small lie, a skipped visit to a friend he barely saw, but promises were like shadows in his life. They never truly vanished. They waited. It started on a rainy Thursday. David had promised his younger brother, Mark, that he'd be there for his big presentation at school. David was late, of course. He told Mark he'd make it, but work had run long. He had lied to himself more than to Mark. The presentation went badly. Mark's classmates laughed. David didn't even see the disappointment in his brother's eyes until later, when Mark silently closed his notebook and left the room. That night, David thought nothing of it. Everyone misses things. Life moves on. But that was the first thread in the unraveling of his own life. Weeks passed. The next promise was bigger. His co-worker, a woman named Eleanor, had confided in him, her voice tight with anxiety. "I need you to cover for me," she had said. "This is important. Don't let them know I'm gone." David nodded. He would, he didn't. He left early, just as he had planned, slipping into the shadowed streets with a sense of relief, a false freedom. But when he came back the next day, the office was silent in a way that made the air feel sharp. Eleanor was gone. Not on vacation, not sick. Gone like she had been erased. A single email explained everything. She had been fired. The manager's note emphasized negligence, and David, he felt the first twinge of real guilt. But guilt is a polite companion. It whispers, but it never yells. He ignored it. Then the stranger appeared. It was a man who claimed to be an acquaintance of someone David didn't remember meeting. The man had a notebook, leather worn and soaked slightly from rain. He said nothing at first, just stared. One evening, as David walked home, the man appeared at the corner of the street. "You broke your word," he said. David laughed nervously. I don't know what you're talking about." The man's eyes darkened. "Promises are not just words. They are contracts with life itself. You break them, you pay." David hurried home, locking the door, shaking it off as a drunk threat, someone trying to scare him. But things escalated. Small events at first. A glass shattered without touch. A phone rang with no one on the line. Shadows in the hallway seemed too deliberate to be random. He told himself it was stress, paranoia, sleep deprivation. But every night, the whisper came, "You broke your word." Then came the dream. David was walking down a corridor of mirrors, each reflecting him differently. In one, he saw Mark, tears staining his face. In another, Eleanor, her mouth opening to scream, but no sound came. In the last, himself, older, hollowed, eyes blackened like the old man's in the park. "Promises," the voice said. "Do you remember them?" He woke up in sweat, heart hammering. But the lesson hadn't settled yet. It would. Days blurred. David tried to atone. He promised things he had no way of delivering. He promised friends he would meet them, but skipped. He promised charity he would donate, but didn't. Every time he felt the weight pressing down, not guilt, not fear, something more precise, surgical, like cold fingers curling around his spine. And every time the stranger appeared, or sometimes just the whisper, "You broke your word." It climaxed on a night David would never forget. Mark, now grown, came to see him. "I don't know why," Mark said, but I feel like you're not whole. You've changed. You're not the brother I knew." David laughed it off, too afraid to confess that he had been haunted for years by his own failures, by promises he had abandoned. Later, in the quiet of his apartment, the stranger appeared for the last time. "You know why I'm here," the man said. He opened the notebook. Pages upon pages, every promise David had ever broken, every lie he had ever told. Each page was a mirror, reflecting the people he had hurt, the life he had ignored. David fell to his knees, realizing the magnitude of his actions. But it was too late. The man's hand reached into the air, pulling at something invisible, and David understood as he gasped for breath. Life keeps score. And when you break your word, it doesn't forgive. It waits. The next morning, David was gone. Some say he ran away. Some say he disappeared into the shadows of his own guilt. The apartment was empty except for the notebook, open to a blank page, waiting. And somewhere a voice whispered, "Promises are not just words. They are life itself."